We're live? Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. And it is just shade past 10 o'clock, Gail. Come on up.
Just because.
My knees don't work anymore.
A lot of more stuff than we're eating, my girl.
I got a little trouble walking camp anymore with 100 pounds in my bag.
Morning, Gail.
Morning.
Sit down.
Morning.
Sit down,
Stand.
Well, I can do that.
You do whatever makes you happy.
Want a better chair?
We know it's gonna make her happy.
Well, I would thank council for seeing me this morning. There's the issue of taxes on what was my parents' property at 219 Victoria. The assessor made a mistake. And he, in his words, he drove by the house the property one morning and thought, oh, I must put the taxes up on that. He didn't check to see what I still owned. I had subdivided the property into the lot with the house on it, a lot in the back that now has a new house on it, and I still have the lot in front on the street. And he didn't check that. So he just assessed the whole property. Well, somebody else had bought the house and the lot, renovated it and sold it. And I was in the process of selling the other lot at that point in time when this piece of paper came and said, well, the assessment. I thought, that's not right. It was never assessed that high. And I tried to call. And I tried to call. And I tried to call. And I can't sit there and press 6-9 and keep redialing and redialing and redialing forever. There's nobody at home to bring me a cup of tea. I have to eat. And I tried for 3 or 4 days, and then when life came along, and by the time I got a hold of them, well, we're sorry, man, but you were 2 days late.
Your appeal.
The appeal. So, and was it an issue? This was part of what my problem was. Was it an issue that I should appeal? I mean, he made an obvious mistake. Well, at the moment, the taxes with the interest are $16,000. Now that's half of what I have to live on per year. And it's a hardship to pay it. But if council in their wisdom would consider reviewing that assessment, as the assessor did, and dropped it right back where it should be.
For the next year.
Next year.
This is just 1 year.
This is 1 year. And because he's dropped it back, I think there's an opportunity for council to look at that assessment. And I think it's for the year 2020.
Are they paid now?
No,
Still outstanding.
it is still outstanding.
How would you do a tax sale for those outstanding taxes? If she doesn't own the property? She does. Oh, she does? It's on the property you've maintained.
It's on
Not the one you sold.
They've now, the little piece that I still have, a single building lot, is assessed for $800,000. Well, that's what this man didn't look up the property records and find out that I had sold one piece. I was in the process of selling another piece. He just presumed that
16,000.
I had had the house renovated and I was living there.
They dropped it, I know that.
Well,
They put it back down
What is it assessed at
the
now?
next year. about 250,000.
And it was 800.
Because they assumed you had the other lots, or they just assumed that.
They assumed that and didn't check.
Well, really, they're the ones that need to correct it, and
She appealed it.
can you appeal it again?
No, they dropped
Corrected it.
it.
They've
They
got
corrected
it
it.
back, they've corrected it.
They wouldn't undo the 2000.
But they won't undo what they
won't
had
undo
already
what
done.
It's not an assessment issue at this point,
No,
it's a tax issue.
and we reaped the taxes. We got the funds and the taxes with the air.
And I think we concluded we didn't have the authority to, the power under the act to return. That's what I remember the initial discussion a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to clear, I mean, I get the problem. Yeah, I really do. I mean, yeah, and they even admit that they made a mistake.
Yes.
So, I mean, I understand that, but they're a mistake. That's what I just.
And I'm paying
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, I speak on, yes, I think initially I'd given an opinion that I didn't see where we had the authority of the MGA to do anything. But Gail appealed to the minister, and I said Gail, Gail's a friend and a client, so you know that. But anyway, she got a letter from the minister's office saying very clearly that the municipality had the authority to address it.
Well, I think,
And so in my view, that letter is our authority to address it. It's a one-up. Doesn't, I mean, my concern was, it doesn't apply to everybody who has a problem with the tax bill. In her case, in this case, she got a letter from the minister saying,
We had the authority.
we had authority to do it, so.
so Gail, I guess,
Well, Andre
Oh,
just
sorry,
came up
I'm
first.
sorry.
If we're to address it, do we not need an assessment of the state of the property as it was in 2020?
It's not an assessment issue, it's a waive the,
Yeah, but it's an increase, so they assumed that there was something else attached to the property that wasn't there, but you were in the process of selling some lots or selling a lot or something. I'm not sure exactly. You own some property now. Is that in the same configuration as what it was
Yes,
in 2020?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just assessed it
So then
incorrect.
would you be satisfied with an assessment based on today's valuation?
that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
So just the taxes, what the taxes should have been.
Yeah, that sounds fair to
Correct
me.
assessment.
Yes, sir.
That sounds fair to me.
That sounds fair to me. I mean, that's what I was gonna
We
say.
have a letter of,
I remember us getting a letter, and then we had a discussion about, okay, so, and I'm not trying to discourage it, because I want to help Gail too. But it's just that, if you open that door, how will that impact other people moving forward?
Oh, yeah, well, and it should.
Yeah.
It should affect other people. So anyone that's watching today, if there is a concern, because,
If they don't file for
yeah, forgive
appeal
me,
until too late.
I just wanted that clarified.
I
So
know, but I mean,
basically,
so how do you, so you gotta find a way to separate things, you know?
no,
Well, Sam suggested that letter separates it
Well, the
from
letter from
everything
the
else.
minister, that for one person.
for one person. Well, then I want a copy of that letter
Well, I think
in
we-
my
I think
files,
we have it.
Partly fine.
my personal files,
Yeah, it is
to
part of
represent
the
my
file.
community, or anybody that reaches out
Can
after
we
this.
read the letter?
I don't have it
You
with
don't
me.
have it.
Yeah.
But I know we have.
Because I've heard from many people that have
No, I
not
remember
filed
us
on time,
having-
have not gotten in touch with them as part of that timeline. So this is very interesting.
just a comment, I think an appeal, to me, there's different appeals. You know, if you're gonna appeal your taxes just because you think your rate went up a percent higher, in this case.
Wrong decision.
They actually just made an enormous mistake.
It's a big mistake that they appeal the wrong thing, the wrong property, which to me is different than just a normal
Yeah.
appeal.
Yeah, they assessed property that
So the letter
didn't,
will
wasn't
say
even
all that.
part of it.
I would classify it totally different.
It's a different circumstance altogether.
Yeah.
So what is Tim, do you know what the exact difference would be if we were to make the adjustment?
Not right off the top of my head. I could bring that back to you at the next meeting though. I could bring a report of what that would look like based on the revised face value.
Include the letter.
I'm prepared to pay the outstanding interest on the corrected amount.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's fair?
Yeah.
Okay,
Makes sense to me.
is that what we want?
Yes.
Well, it makes
Get the-
sense to me.
get the figure.
It's the right thing to do. I mean,
Letters
it's-
to be included with the report, yes, of course,
Yeah, oh, yes, absolutely.
but it was,
Yeah,
it was not an issue of appealing too late, it was actually wrong.
yeah.
And this was my question initially. Was it something that I should appeal? Was appeal the right word to use?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Is that what we want?
Yes, we do.
Is come back with the exact figure, interest you'll pay, copy of letters, so it was clear.
We know what, yeah,
So we'll bring that back to the meeting on the 30th.
sounds
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
And then I'll get a,
well, in theory,
Sure.
well, based on what I'm hearing right this second,
I should
we're
get
gonna
a,
make an adjustment.
well, thank you, council, very much.
You're welcome. I think it's the right thing to do.
Well, it was clearly a mistake, whether it was our mistake or
Yes.
somebody else's mistake, it wasn't. It was a mistake, that's true.
Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Also, just for clarity from the last presentation we had, I've, so I've asked Tara to get the information from Church Memorial Park on the expected lifespan. If,
I'll get you some
Yeah,
questions.
and some additional
I'll give them
questions.
to you, Alan, and you can.
whatever. But anyway, we want these questions asked before we make a decision. And also, just because they've been talking to me, our staff just can't take this on right this minute, so I've also asked her to give me a price on what it would cost us to hire a term position to help them with that construction, just so that we know.
Yeah. Well, let me answer.
And then we'll deal with it on the 30th, I guess. We have a lot of stuff to deal with on the 30th.
Might be an all day one.
Well, we could be, yeah.
It'll be a long session.
Anyway, okay, now I'm gonna move along to, I think I'm on 6.1 Committee of the Whole, and there are a bunch of motions there. Is somebody prepared to move that we move them? The recommendations, the motions?
Motion to approve the recommendation.
Seconder?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
Yes.
Got a budget. Here we go. RCMP advisory, and there's only one motion, and that was to deal with moved by Deputy Warden Shepherd, seconded by Terry Demont, that the RCMP advisory board recommended council to keep the current local RCMP advisory board for the municipality of Chester as is and not proceed to join in regional joint RCMP advisory board with other units in Lunenburg County, and all were in favor.
Yeah, second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. And 6.3, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I don't think I have any minutes. Oh, now I do. There you go. Andre?
Yeah, I think, I don't have it up on my screen, but the main thing that was discussed was just that we're reviewing our work plan, and we wanted to see if it would be satisfactory to council if we also included reviewing municipal government, like our local government, in the lens of EDI. It seemed like it was an omission on our part. We sort of didn't, we looked at everything else except for the government itself. So it just seems like it would be appropriate to add it if that would be the will of the council.
I don't mind adding it as long as they do a good job. Consider all things when they do it.
It's their job.
So we have a budget, pre-budget approval?
Don't need that.
Oh, we don't need that. Okay. So you're moving that, or are you, Andre?
I'm moving, or if there's questions.
Well, I have a question. Repeat exactly what you just said.
So like, we have a government here, our local government.
Okay.
And it's important, I think, that our government be equitable, diverse, and inclusive.
Okay.
Those are the values of this council. But it's actually not in the work plan to make sure that is the case. So we're looking at all kinds of things that we do that flow from this government, but we don't actually look at the way our government operates at all.
So how that, so I don't understand about the coordinator that we hired. Is this part of what goes to the coordinator? Is this our separate deal, or how does that work? Because, I'm just asking, because we had our own EDI committee here. So is this something that the coordinator and other people who are part of that, the EDI regional body? Is that something that they help? Is this something separate? If it's something separate, then I question why we had the coordinator.
No, again, this is my take on the meeting. As you know, Abdullah, I have a lot of respect and did and still do for the committee makeup and the citizens that turn out at that table every meeting. And again, when we look around the table, we have Jude Alouche, who actually is a new Canadian. It was just, again, the ceremony was held within the last couple of months, which is very exciting. So, and she's a student, and we have Charlie McGinnis, who's a student, and they are much more involved, I think, in government than I ever was at that age, if you will. So again, just best practices around just inclusion, diversity, and just what it is, right? So I don't see it separate from our committee. I see it something that this committee wants to tackle, to explore, to have a conversation. And Mr. Upshaw, Craig Upshaw, was actually at the meeting that we discussed that, to be introduced to our group, just as he would be through all of the municipal units within Lunenburg County. So I can't speak for those municipal units, but here at this table, we had the meeting a few weeks ago, and Audrey spoke well to it. It was just specifically around that. Young, older, the Charlies and the Judes of the world, and just everything in between. So yeah.
Okay, sure.
I think, specific to the request, I think, just like this is a fairly homogeneous group here, and just, I think council should want to make sure that it's just not, that it's not systemic, it's just happens to be that way, and that's what they want to look at, and if the will of council is there, and if it's not, then.
Oh, absolutely it's there. I just wanted to find out how to work with the coordinator.
I wasn't at the meeting, so I just want to ask for clarity around the discussion. So what I read there is best practices in local government, and that's what our entire action plan as a whole is looking at. The conversation I'm hearing is that around how do we make council more inclusive?
Yeah, to ensure that we have our local government is inclusive.
So it's about
It could be anything.
promoting diversity and equity amongst the council table and our committees.
Or our committees, yeah.
Okay, so that's what I wasn't
It's a
clear
little more
on.
specific.
Council
Okay,
committees.
that's what I wasn't clear
If
on.
that's what it is, then that's.
Thank you. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Quite frankly, we don't really care too much about other local governments, just our.
Yeah.
Okay, so you made motions, anybody gonna second it? Seconded by, discussion?
Double second.
Oh, what?
I said, but doesn't this get into, the council is the result of an election?
Yeah, I know.
So I
We
guess
can't really.
we can't control that. Council is the end result of a democratic process.
We want to ensure, I think we've learned that, sometimes you have to have outreach to ensure that you have the right people coming out, for example. I think we've learned that. Not necessarily for local government perspective, but even filling committees with diverse groups. We've learned that sometimes you have to do some other things to ensure that you have a diverse community.
Okay, committees I get.
Council's hard to control.
Council's hard to control because it's just, you can encourage a diverse bunch of people to run.
That's right. Can't decide who people vote for.
But are we encouraging?
Yeah, that's what I was
I think
gonna ask.
that's
Are we encouraging?
I think we wanted to look at.
So when I decided to run, I took part in a session, and that just really dates me, because you don't actually just do this anymore. It was for women in local government, right? So I don't hear that now, because we're already a decade past that. So it's everybody. And I'm paying attention to some of the other municipal units in terms of some of the social media, and I know we're getting to that, because we're just really on the cusp of getting into this election. But promoting, and is there some things that we could be doing to, again, do that outreach and that engagement and just to promote. Again, it comes down to who wants to put their name forward and the community, who the community is going to check off on the ballot or type in, I guess, on the electronic voting system. So, yeah.
Anyway, they can do the work. We can take a look at it and determine what's in our interest to do and what's not.
Yeah, exactly. So, still on EDI, but not this.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried, yes.
Thank you. So, when you look at the first motion that we're not concerned with now, because we have budget approval, I want to talk about What a Wonderful World, because I want to get a promotion in there for that, if I can, please. So What a Wonderful World was a documentary that was produced in 2022, during the time of COVID. And we are having a local showing here, it says, at Tuck Hall on Sunday, May 26th at 2 o'clock. I believe it's 2. I hope it's 2. I was saying it out loud. 2. Oh, hey Jen. 2 o'clock. And again, produced in 2022. The documentary is a group came together to discuss systemic racism and discrimination in a nutshell. It's a very powerful documentary. It was shown across the province from one end to the other, including here in this region, and the EDI committee at the time, back in the fall of, or in October of 2022, they were invited to attend the premiere, the launch of this documentary at the Home Bay Center. Right.
Center, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And at the time, I think we might have reported on it, and what I can indicate, and I know staff were there as well, that the committee members you were able to attend were moved beyond words. Moved beyond words. And I feel strongly, really, that if one is lucky enough to be able to attend this event here, right in our own village, right in our own municipality, community, you won't regret it. So I am personally asking that if you have the time, either in the audience or here at this table or on live stream, and I know we're going to get the promotions out there, you won't regret it. You won't regret taking the afternoon. You will truly be moved and inspired. I believe that. I believe it. And so, again, I'm asking, please don't come up with a reason like, you have to wash your car, you have to go get groceries. It's one afternoon out of the entirety of your years ahead.
Do you need to get tickets in advance?
No, you do not. Do you, Jen? Nope. Nope.
Where are they showing it to you?
Tuck Hall.
Is it free?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, free will offer.
I'm just asking because there may be some other people.
Good, yeah,
that
good
would
question,
want to
please.
know that's why they-
I love that question, we all love that question. And again, I think it was sponsored by the Canadian Council for, So it was a free will offering, and we took some food, just a food bank item. But no one poo-pooed it, well, actually, or a small amount of monetary donation. But no one, if people forgot, they still welcomed in with big open arms, of course.
Well, I was there and I still remember it.
Yes,
Actually,
see?
It was quite I encourage everybody to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
to go
And it was
watch
produced by one of our local,
Yes.
one of our local
Don Herb.
residents, Don Herb.
Don
Yeah,
Herb Jones.
it's eye-opening, I can tell you.
So again, one afternoon, few hours. And the powerful piece of it is not just the film or the documentary, but it's the questions and answers after. And I believe Jennifer indicated to me just yesterday, but I already forget, I think there'll be six guests.
Yeah.
6 of the original participants of the documentary, they're in the room, and okay, you got my message, okay.
Okay, thank you. So we're on to Lunenburg County Senior Safety Program.
Tina.
I'm all talked up, no, what? So,
I can't believe that.
So we have this month, this meeting, we have the regular monthly report, which you've had. So if you have any questions, we can highlight the fact that we did just have one of the Senior Safety Academy 6-week sessions wrap up yesterday in the municipality. It was in New Rouse's time. It has been at our health center, and we have moved it around throughout Lunenburg County. So we've had it a few times here in this municipality. The numbers were so large, we actually had to move it from the resource center to the Fortis Community Center. So and they were coming from other communities, obviously, as well. So just mention that as a highlight. But moving on, or there could be questions about the monthly report, but I have included the annual report and the hopes, again, as part of the discussion, that would serve to council as part of the budgeted grant piece. More than that, because it's not about the money, but just to let you know, annually, kind of some of those numbers and stats. There's some testimonials in there, I think, some snapshots of a few things. word snapshots, not photo snapshots. So yeah, so it's in there, and there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, bylaws and policies, 8.1. Policy adoption, final notice, abuse prevention policy, provide safe and respectful environments to support health, well-being, and meaningful engagement with all people who interact, provide services to. So we've been there, done that, this is final notice. So we prepared to make a motion to adopt?
Yes, so moved.
Seconder? Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. 8.2, policy amendments. Second and final notice, amendment to policy P09, remuneration of warden, deputy warden, councilors, cost of living adjustment, and adjustment following the elections. So again, final notice. What do we want to do?
Do you need a motion for that?
Yes, I do.
So moved.
Seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. 8.3, first notice, adoption of municipal elections policy to provide direction and guidance to incumbent council regarding appropriate pre-election activity.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Oh, that's too simple. 9.1, request for decision, financial information services, cost of living adjustment.
Team vote.
Morning, council.
Hi there.
There we go, that's a little better. All right, so I have a request for decision for you this morning. This is a follow-up to a presentation that you received on April 11th with the first pass of this. So on April 11th, you were presented with 3 options for adjusting our salaried employee salary scales for the 24-25 fiscal year, including 3 options, one of which was the standard CPI increase. The other 2 showed incremental different amounts for each of the levels. At that time, council requested an additional incremental option to be presented, so I brought back this report with those initial 3 plus the one requested, as well as some additional background information and context for this decision. To start with, I want to talk a little bit about just the 3 types of salary adjustments that we have. So there are 3 ways that an employee at the municipality of Chester can receive an increase to their salary. And so I've got each of them covered here with a brief description and then kind of a generalized quote as to what that particular adjustment is for. The first of those adjustments is a performance-based adjustment, which would be considered a raise. That is when someone goes through their annual review process and they move from one step to the next within their salary band. We give performance increases to recognize that the more experience an employee has, the greater the value their work provides to the organization. The second one, and the one we're talking about more specifically today, is the inflationary cost of living adjustments. So these increases are given annually to account for the impact of inflation. Inflation is a way to measure the reduction in the value of a set amount of money. In other words, the same amount of money buys less stuff as time goes on. Cost of living adjustments are provided to prevent the erosion of purchasing power for the compensation that each employee receives. So we give inflationary increases to ensure that employees are not receiving less value for the same work due to inflation reducing the value of the money that they earn. The third type of adjustment that an employee can receive here is a market adjustment, and this is due to external factors that impact the market value of the various positions for this organization. And so every 5 years now under the current policy, we'll go and have an external party come and review our scales, assess them as compared to market factors externally, and tell us whether we're around the market or whether we need to make adjustments there. So we periodically assess market rates to ensure that we are able to attract and retain high quality employees. So since today we're talking about cost of living inflation adjustments, I'm going to give a little bit more background and information on the benchmarks that we use and the history of those benchmarks. So the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, is a number that is released every month by Statistics Canada, and they release one both for the country as a whole as well as individually for each province. And it's the cost of a fixed basket of goods that is intended to represent, a normal household purchase basket, essentially. So every month they release that. The change in CPI from month to month can be a little bit quote unquote noisy, which you can see in this graph here. There's a blue line that shows kind of how much can fluctuate from one month to the next. However, over time, it tends to be a pretty good reflection of the impacts of inflation and is by far the most accepted measure of that. So I've included a graph here that kind of shows 3 different ways to look at CPI changes. So the blue one is that's a month-to-month change, and then I've annualized it for the sake of having it present on the same scale as the other numbers. The orange line is the year over year from June of 2022 to June of 2023. And then the red line is that annual average. So you use the average of the last 12 months compared to the average of the 12 months before that. So you can just see that each of those, the longer term you take, the more smooth that change tends to be. And I've included little green marks there to kind of denote where each of the annual adjustment processes happened in the last 5 years. 3 years plus proposed for this year. So nearly every organization uses some measure of CPI to calculate the impact of inflation on their operations. And there are a number of different options for what you can choose. As we've talked about, the year over year, the average, you could pick a different month in each year. And while which measure of CPI you use will impact each year's adjustment, over time, they all come out around the same as long as you remain consistent with the practice of which benchmark you're using. So I know Councillor Connors has mentioned with other organizations using, I'm not sure which month they use, but they use one that ends up being different than ours. However, over a long enough period, as long as they keep theirs the same and we keep ours the same, we're all going to end up around the same overall growth. I had a look through his history of the motions for these annual adjustments with Chester. I went back 21 years with the assistance of Pam, actually. She did the work for me on that one. And so for at least the last 21 years, we've been using the same benchmark of annual average change in Nova Scotia all items CPI. So here I mentioned that there are the 4 options, although I've included option 1A and B. 1A would be to use the annual average CPI increase. Option B would be, as shown in the policy, council could set another percentage to increase all salary scales by. Option 2 is where we kept that gross salary increase to 4% across the organization, but then allocated the amounts differently across each band so that everyone received at least 4% and it got a little bit higher in the lower bands. Option 3 was the other one you were shown on April 11th, which was a flat increase for each employee, and that is shown here as well. And then option 4 was the one that was requested at that time, and that's an average of those second and third ones. So you can see a table just below the options that shows the percentage increase across the various salary levels for each of those 4 options. And then on the attachment, you can see the full grid of what those salaries would be under each of the 4 options presented.
What are you recommending?
My recommendation is that we maintain the consistency of the existing benchmark that's been used. It works well, it's consistent. It's a good policy in that it's repeatable. There's no need to revise it annually. I think that it's good policy, it's supportable, it's consistent, and those are the things that really I consider to be important in a continuation of a policy.
Somebody prepared to move that?
So moved.
Seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
How much discussion on that one?
Well, we get lost.
Not today, we had it.
Okay, I think that I'm on 11.1.
Yeah.
Consideration regarding placement of porta potty at Gold River Playground Park.
Thank you, sir. It's come to my attention from the board members of Together Weekend Society, which runs the Old Gold River School Park, that their porta potty there is really taking a big portion of their budget. The work they do over there is incredible. That porta potty over there is used probably just as much by passers-by as their park is. And so I guess what I'm here today to ask is to add the porta potty to our other ones, which are at Crawford Playground and Han Trail Park and Chester Train. I don't know how to go through that. So I would request that we add that as well. And that's my ask for today.
We have a motion.
That's a motion.
We have a seconder. Seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you. And just as a side, prior to, I had let Chad know, and he had let the public works staff know that
You might possibly get it.
and they'll work it out. Thank you.
Okay, 11.2, request for decision for Prairie Bog Community Development Recreation Operating Grants Review.
Okay, good, lots of paper. Lots of paper.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we're at the time of year when our deadline has passed for our annual operating grants. So that was April the 30th, and so we have received those applications, which is of course in your package today. And I prepared the summary table there that runs through to outline the organizations as well as the amount that they have requested. And of course, we also have copies of their applications that outline kind of the projects and things that they are undertaking. So we've brought that forward today for review and consideration. So we have a total of $35,060 in requests, and your budget just passed this morning of $33,000. So we do have some decisions.
That's $2,060 worth of adjustments to make.
Correct. And there is a note in there that there are two, out of that list, there are two special considerations. One is Christmas Daddies. So there is no official application. That is just a group that council has wanted to support over the years, so that is there for decision today as well. And the second one would be United Way of Lunenburg County, and so staff participate in Casual Day, and so that's typically a matching of that staff funding. So those two do not have applications, but I have put them in the budget because they have been there in previous years, so that would be a decision that would be required to be made today as well.
Okay.
One new one there, I see, operating. Sexual Health Society. There's nothing last year. They're looking for $3,000.
That's correct. They have not applied for funding with us before. And so there's a few on there. So it's the ones that have non-applicable for last year. That doesn't necessarily mean that those groups haven't received grants from us before. It's just last year they did not receive an operating grant.
So $5,000 off that. So we're looking to cut $2,500. We're looking to cut $2,500 somewhere.
Well, $2,060 is what we're.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So a couple of the bigger ones got to get a few $100 left. I mean, what else we can say? We went through an awful long process to establish how much money we were giving away.
So maybe the new ones there that the $3,000 ask, maybe reduce.
I'd look at the ones that. I'd say cut the triathlon.
So the triathlon one, so that is, so we do have the different categories. That is one that is a provincial organization. We do not have a local triathlon club, but this the Provincial Nova Scotia Triathlon Association is hosting an event locally here in the community this summer. They've reached out to us. There's a note in there that they're looking to have a run bike run happening starting in their East River Trail head parking lot. So anyway, so it is a provincial organization with one local event this year. So that's the reason why if that event wasn't happening here, we probably wouldn't have seen an application. But that is a provincial organization.
Well, we can still cut it by $1,000 from start. Yes, we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Completely or what? Give them $500.
Take that out.
Yeah, give them $500 and then.
$1,500. Well, if we take 1,000, it's $1,500, and then.
Okay.
And then we got to take $1,060 off all the rest of them, which is not an awful lot.
Not if you spread it over. No.
So have we vetted all the applications? I mean, are they?
So we have gone, at the staff level, we've gone through to ensure they meet the basic eligibility criteria for this grant, which they do. So that these are the ones that the application that we feel have met the basic criteria, yes.
I would be inclined to take the Martins River pop-up down back to what we gave last year. 2,500.
What was that one, the Martins River?
Martins River pop-up.
Martin's Point.
I'm sorry, Martins Point.
So how much do we have left to take off, Chad?
We have to take $1,060.
Well, look at, I would think if you spread it over some organizations, that makes it more fair.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to take that amount and spread it over, as you say, the Martins Point pop-up market. You got Chester Yacht Club there. You have
We have a couple not even announced that I think.
New Ross Community. Yeah.
So that has been something council has looked at before. So we do have it in terms of the category. So you just took $1,000 off the Triathlon Association, the regional groups up above. So they're not local, but they service our area. So that is.
Yeah,
So this social.
I dislike the idea of just taking a percentage off each one. That's very lazy.
Lazy?
It's quite lazy.
Why do you say it's lazy? I think it's
Because
fair.
we're not actually, no, it's not fair, because we're not looking at the merits of the groups that are applying. We're just saying, no matter who they are, we're just gonna take whatever, 13% off here.
Okay, so if we take 500
lazy.
off of Vincent St. Paul and 500 off of sexual health, then we're only down to $60.
There you go.
Yeah, I think we can handle
sounds
that.
good.
But do we have to spend it all? I mean,
we don't.
We're trying not to spend more than we already had budgeted.
I know, but we could also go under budget.
Can.
I mean, we just had someone come in and ask for $1.5 million.
Yes.
When we start looking for where we can find some of that 1.5 million.
This third.
Well, what do we know about the South Shore Sexual Health Society? They appeared before us and explained to us what they do.
I don't know what that
It's
is.
the first time.
First time, we know nothing about them, we're just gonna give them $3,000, not even
Well,
that.
I mean, they made that.
Which one?
Sexual Health Society.
No, they.
Yeah, I will say I was kind of surprised to see that one in here. I have nothing against the organization or what they're doing. And I actually, it seems weird that I'm going to be saying this because I actually see their presence in New Ross as a partner with the Family Resource Center. But I really was surprised to see, and I just think that maybe what they're doing is it is what they're doing. They're applying to every municipal unit in Winter Queens. And again, they've been doing great work to this point. Where do they get their core operating dollars? Is it the municipal government or is it another level? Or
So that is in their budget, which they attach, and so I wasn't familiar with this organization, so I did call and did a follow-up to ask that question. They do have core funding through health, which is in the amount of $60,000. The remaining of their budget, they do fundraising. They apply for grants. They do have requests into all of the other municipal units in Lunenburg County to come up with. So that is appears in their budget as well.
So if we took $1,000 off
Yeah,
of that.
there you go.
They're still gonna do what they're doing. I know they are.
Take $1,000 off. I'm in agreement with that.
It's only two.
Well, I would like to hear them. I mean, have you spoken to them actually?
I have spoken with their executive director, yeah, and so typically for our larger grants, such as our capital grants, we typically do have the groups come in and make presentations. That isn't a requirement of this group, but that's certainly something that if before making a decision about providing them funding, if you wanted to have them come in and make a presentation with the work that they do specifically in the municipality of Chester, we absolutely can make that request. It hasn't been a requirement of our operating grants to do. We can certainly request them to do that before we.
Some of these we know.
Well, when you look at the, how they intend to spend the grant money, maybe you should look at that in section 4.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's definitely a Department of Health issue, not municipal government.
It's important stuff.
It's important,
But I
not.
don't know that it's.
$3,000 a
Yeah.
We recognize this important stuff.
So if we were only getting $1,500, we would be finished and done and
Okay,
have a
let's-
little bit of money left.
Let's do that.
So moved.
So Kimberly, hang on. Everybody calm down. What what are we actually doing? Are we,
I don't know.
We're cutting their grant request to $1,500, and we're cutting the triathlon to $1,500, which will leave us with a little bit of money in the bank.
So if you made those changes that Alan outlined, that means that you would have approved $32,060, which would leave $940 remaining.
That's fine, leave it.
So moved.
Seconded by Ella.
Yep, second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
it's,
Okay.
Now,
Discussion on the gas.
Make a comment on that.
yeah,
sewer gas.
I think next year, we need to do either a special meeting or a workshop. I just think we did them too fast and didn't consider.
Ridiculous.
I do, I just don't feel there's enough, we want to get to a number instead of look at what each one was and what it meant. And I just think we did.
Yeah, I mean, we all did that. We looked at the total budget. We broke it down in our, on our own papers, I would hope, and we looked at the impact, we looked at the volunteer numbers, again, that's important, right? When you look at, and I looked at whether that, I thought that was kind of made up a little bit, knowing, what it takes to turn out for a festival or event. I think we all did that. But again, good on the next term of council. Whoever's sitting at this table, that can be their decision.
I mean,
I don't disagree.
there's some of these groups I don't know that much about, there's no question about that. It'd be nice to have them in.
We normally get down over one by one, and we just brush them through. That's my opinion, so I said,
Well, we're such a small amount off the budget.
that's fine, we did it, we made the motion.
Well, it's all done now.
Yeah, and plus, I think, to Floyd's point, I think we're gonna have to start, because we're spending a lot of money, and we have the rink in here this morning, we know sort of where that's gonna go, but we have to look at our grant, our grant, as everybody knows, our grant policy is very, very, very generous in every respect. And I know we've reviewed it.
We spent a lot of time.
We spent a lot, I know, but, we've got a lot of requests coming here.
Yeah.
I don't even know that the motion was carried. Did you count the votes?
Yes. Well, I didn't see any objections, to be honest with you.
So a non-vote, you told me it was a vote in favor or against?
Well, it's still, one vote doesn't
I
matter.
didn't vote.
Well, it's still passed.
That's fine.
To abstain.
Yeah, well, so it still passes, that's.
I know.
You're right. We're right.
So anyway, it passed, it's all
Is there any, so just so I know, are there any procedural changes, so we are gonna be in the same situation, like in the future, is there any procedural suggestions, like in terms of, dealing, maybe doing a review at a meeting and approving later, or?
Just a comment to me. We have a lot on our schedule there today.
Yes.
And because of that, I think we rushed this through because we have a lot on our schedule there. I think it deserves more conversation and more looking into each one as an individual. That's all I think.
Okay, just a second, so we abstain, is that a vote for or against?
Again,
Against.
So the only one who can vote with the motion of reconsideration, someone voted for the motion. So if you wanted to consider it again, one of the five has to make a motion for reconsideration. That's why
I don't think that's what he's asking, he's just thinking that the next time we do this, we should spend more time discussing each group.
Well, I think when you put it on a council agenda, with a full agenda, we have a lot of stuff here and a lot of important things, that doesn't get the attention it needs. That's my opinion.
Look, if you want, we need a 60% vote to bring it back out to life again, you want to do it?
I can't make a motion
He
for
can't because he
reconsideration.
voted
I voted
against it.
against it. Only
Has to
someone
be
voted
people who voted for.
I'll move that we
Reconsider?
reconsider the grants, operating grants, and it's just approved like 10 minutes ago.
Anybody want to second that?
Second?
You can.
Actually, no. Oh, I can't now. I don't even know if it needs one. I think that's an automatic. Once he makes the motion for reconsideration, it's a done deal. I don't think it needs to be
I
seconded.
don't think so.
I'm looking.
Look, I don't have that memorized, I get it.
I love the humanity of it all.
Check it.
Well, I think it's incumbent on each counselor to look at the package and look at the merits of the ask, and when we're in discussion.
Yeah, we did. I voted against it.
No, but what I'm saying, if, to Floyd's point, he thought we rushed things
Motion to
through.
reconsider.
We did.
But that's, I mean, if you had some sort of an objection to one of these things, I think it should have been brought up
I brought it up.
before the vote. Like
I
what,
brought it up.
okay, so, okay.
And you dismissed it, you didn't even hear
My point was, we normally get down over them in more detail. In my recollection, we do anyway.
Yeah, and I know that my community was looking forward to that party discussion, and they will again, because it will be live streamed, whatever discussion we have from here on in. And actually, depending on who's on council, so I can't speak to the future. But my suggestion, Chad, and I'm only one person, is at the start of next council, because there surely should be some changes here, right? So at the start of the next council term, that can be discussed at the next council in terms of how they want to look at
So you
workshops,
need a second for your motion?
grant deliberations,
I'll
and
second
everything
it.
else.
I'll second your motion.
it.
All right, we're gonna move her in a second round.
So now you have another vote, correct?
I don't think he needs a second. I wanna
Well,
get
it
the
says
ruling.
there you do. And so a mover and a seconder we have
I have a
to
second.
reconsider.
right.
All those in favor of reconsidering? Opposed? Motion's defeated. We're done.
I tried.
All I can do.
Anybody, I second your,
Derek, you wanted to talk about sidewalk?
I love the humanity of
I
it.
just want to know what's going on. They laid them down, now they're ripping them up. I want to get a report on what's happening.
they're making a mess, I can tell you that.
Rip them up and keep them up.
So, does anyone know?
I'm not gonna bring them to New Ross.
Well, I don't know.
Is it-
I don't know if anybody can give us an update on the sidewalk in Chester or not.
I don't know exactly what the delays or what the situation is.
Maybe we can find out.
What I can tell you from yesterday, that I was down at the salon where,
More information.
You look terrific, by the way.
thank you, but when I walked in the door, I was, basically, the owners of the salon were livid at the company doing the work, and since last year, and they've been very cooperative with them. They come in there, because I said, well, they're not on your land. They said, yes, they are. And they went out and talked to them and said, please try to keep it to a minimum because our customers can't get in. Now they're trying to sell the building. So I don't know if there's anything the municipality can do, Derek. I mean, I know it's in your district,
I
but
just want to report. I mean, it's,
yes,
When are they
absolutely.
gonna get it done?
Yeah, it's terrible.
what's going on?
Okay, we're gonna get a report.
And if staff doesn't know what's going on, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Staff know it's just that the correct
The
staff
right
aren't in
staff
the room
that-
right now.
They're out looking at the sidewalk construction. So projects that are going on. We're in the basin quite a bit. It seems to be going reasonably well.
Must be the A-team.
Yeah.
The B team's here in Chester.
I go out and check on it myself twice a day.
It's not a very difficult question.
It's terrible that, I mean, people are, you must hear it, Derek, a lot.
You think?
I know you
So
do.
staff, maybe somebody could give Derek a call.
Now, all their sidewalks are shut down. They've stopped traffic on all the sidewalks now. Why? I know. But if we don't know, how can we talk to the people up there?
That's why I'm gonna get the staff member who does have the answers to give you a call.
Give everybody a call.
We all need to know.
Well, then send
I can send an email.
out, send an email as well. Okay, we're gonna take a 10-minute break, we're leaving. Yeah, and then we're